Uh, Dear learners, this is the third unit that is talking about the purpose of the politics in the contemporary political thoughts. And this is the important topics that I am going to deliberate the lectures. The purpose of the politics can be understood in several dimensions, reflecting its complexity as a human activity. It, at its core, politics is about managing power, governance, and decision makings within the society. Here are key purpose of the politics, that is organizing society. Politics helps to organize society by creating law, rules, and institutions that governs behaviors. It establishes orders, resolving conflicts, and setting standards for how peoples should interact. Distributions of the resources. Politics play a central roles in deciding how resources such as wealth, opportunity, and rights are distributed. Governments and political systems determines who gets what and when and how. Representations of interest. Politics provide a platform for the individuals and groups to express their needs and interests. Through votings, lobbyings, or other forms of engagements, people influencing government policy and decisions that impacts their lives. Balancing power, politics is a mechanism for managing and balancing power within the society. It governs dominations by a single persons or groups, ensuring checks and balance, especially in democratic setups. Promoting justice and equality, politics systems often seek to ensure fairness and equality. These include protections of civil rights, promoting justice, and preventing discriminations or exploitations. Now come to the important thing, that is facilitating the changes. Politics enables society to evolve and adapt political process, allow for reforms, the introductions of new policy and resources to changing circumstances, from economic shifts to the environmental challenge. Conflict resolutions. Politics provide a structural way for resolving conflicts between individual groups or nations without resolving to violence through the dialogues, negotiations, and diplomacy. Defining collective goals. That means that politics involves setting the shared goals for the society, such as economic growth, security, or environmental sustainability. Through political debates and elections, society choose leaders and politics to achieve these objectives. In essence, the purpose of politics is to create a stable and functioning society where peoples can coexist, thrive, and pursue their goals within the framework of justice and the fairness. Here I am talking about the purpose of the politics, that is a multi-faced, touching on various aspects of governance, power dynamics, and societal needs. Below is a more detailed exploitations of the key purpose of the politics. Establishing and maintaining social order. Purpose. Politics provides a framework for organizing society and ensuring social orders. This involves creating and enforcing law, regulations, and politics that define acceptable behaviors and prevent chaos or anarchy. Details. That means the governments create legal system to maintain peace and stability, dealing with the everything from the property rights to the criminal behaviors. Political institutions such as legislatures and courts play a crucial role in maintaining this order. For instance, politics decide how rules are created through a democratic process or by decree, and how they are enforced by police and military. Now come to the managing and distributing resources purpose. Politics determine how society resources such as money, lands, and opportunity are distributed among the different groups and the individuals. Here I am talking about the process of allocations is inherently political. Taxes, welfare programs, healthcare, educations, and infrastructures are often shaped by the political debates about the fairness, needs, and merits. For examples, in the capitalist society, market forces might play a larger role in distributions while in the society, social system, the state might directly control how the resources are divided. Representations of the interest, purpose, politics serve as a mechanisms for individuals and groups to have their voices heard and their interest represented in the decision-making process. This is the central to the democratic system where elected representatives speak on behalf of their constituents. Even in the non-democratic system, some degree of interest representations occurs often through the political party, interest groups, or elite coalitions. Politics thus become a contest among the different groups where they are based on the class, race, religions, or economic interest, each seeking to the influence policy to benefit themselves. Next is that is balancing power and preventing tyranny. Purpose. One of the core purpose of the politics is to distributing power in a way that prevents any one persons or groups from dominating society. Details. In a democratic system, this is often achieved through a system of check and balance, such as dividing government into the branch, executive, legislature, and judiciary. To prevent tyranny, politics ensure that power is contested, that opposition forces have to voice, which help to limit the abuse of authority. In authoritarian regime, politics may involve different elites or partition within the ruling class or vying for influences and control. Promoting justice and equality purpose. That means the politics aim to create a fair and just society by ensuring that law and policy are equitable and that all individuals are treated with respect and dignity. Details. Concept of justice and equality are often at the heart of political debate. For examples, debates about affirmative actions, gender equality, or income inequality all involves competitive political idea about what constitutes a fair society. Political system may seek to correct historical injustice and redistribute wealth and provide universal access to essential service such as education and healthcare. Now we are going to the next things that is uh, talking about the resolving conflicts. That means this is the important purpose of the politics. Politics provide a structural process for resolving conflict among individuals, groups, or nations on preventing violence and chaos. Political systems include institutions like courts, legislatures, and diplomatic body which mediate conflicts through the negotiations, compromise, or enforcement of the law. In the international politics, this might involve treaties, alliances, or trade negotiations. Within the nations, it can involve mediating between the conflict, social, economics, and regional interests. Facilitating social and economic changes purpose. Politics is a vehicle for social progress and economic developments, allowing society to adjust to a new circumstances and the challenges. Politics allows society to adjust to the changes like the technological advancements, shift in global economic power, or eliminating change. For instance, political actions might be necessary to the transitions to a green energy or to managing the economic distributions caused by the automations. Similarly, politics play a role in social changes such as movements for civil rights, gender equality, which rely on political advocacy to achieve their goals. Creating and pursuing the collective goals. This is the important part. That means that this is the important purpose of the politics. Politics help to define and pursue collective goals that benefit the entire society, such as national security, economic growth, or environmental protections. Through politics, society decide on priority. Should a government prioritize defense spending over the educations or the healthcare over the infrastructures? Political ideology often shapes how these goals are pursued. For examples, Conservative policy maybe emphasize economic growth through the free markets, while progressive politics may be focused on addressing inequality or environmental sustainability. Legitimates authority and governance. Politics provide legitimacy to the government authority, making it acceptable for citizens to follow law or for leaders to govern. In democracy, legitimacy comes from the free and fair elections where citizens choose their leaders. In other systems, legitimacy may come from the religious or traditional authority, military powers, or ideological belief systems. Politics help create the narratives and institutions that support these forms of the legitimacy, whether it is through the symbolic powers of a constitution, the charisma of the leaders, or effectiveness of the ruling party. Next is that is talking about the protecting rights and the freedoms. A core functions of the politics is to safeguard the rights and freedoms of individuals, especially in the liberal democratic systems. Details the politics defines and protects basic rights such as freedoms of speech, religions, and the process, as well as the right to fair treatments under the law. Political systems are often evaluated based on the how well they are protected these rights. Politics is also crucial in expanding rights such as the struggle for the civil rights or LGBT rights, which require political actions to changing law and public attitudes. That is called providing security and defense. One of the primary roles of the political system is to provide security both demonstrably from crimes and internationals from the external threats. Governments creates and maintains military, police forces, and intelligence agency to protect citizens from externals and internal dangers. These decisions about war, peace, alliances, and diplomacy are deeply political. Politics also decide how resources are allocated for national defense versus other social needs, and how much individuals' freedoms can be restricted in the name of security. Next is that is talking about the developing national identity and the unity purpose. Politics helps foster a sense of shared identity and belongingness among the citizens of a nation, contributing to national unity. Political leaders often use symbols, narratives, and policy to create a sense of national identity which can unity diverse populations. This may involve promoting national language, celebrations, national holiday, or the creating shared value. In some cases, politics can also be exercise divisions, particularly when leaders use identity for political gain, leading to nationalisms or sectarianisms. Here I am going to conclude the topic that is the purpose of the politics. That is, politics is a complex and interdisciplines process that touches every aspect of the societal life. In it, it involves the management of powers, the resolutions of conflicts, and the distributions of resources. But it also about the defining the shared goals and value of a community. Through political process, society creates law, protects rights, and pursue collective aspirations, making it fundamental to the functionings and the developments of human civilizations. Next is that is the criticisms of the modernity. The criticism of the modernity refers to the critics level against the philosophical, cultural, political, and social transformations that characterize the modern era. Modernity is often associated with the Enlightenment, the rise of industrial capitalism, scientific rationalisms, secularizations, and individualisms. While it has led to the unprecedented technological and social advancements, modernity has also faced significant criticisms from various perspectives, including philosophical, social, cultural, and environmental concerns. Now come to the important things that is alienations and fragmentations of the individuals. Criticisms Modernity, with its emphasis on individualism, rationality, and industrialization, has led to a deep sense of alienation among individuals. Thinkers such as Karl Marx, Max Weber, and Emile Durkheim argue that the purpose of industrializations and bureaucratizations in modern society have estranged peoples from their work and community and even themselves. This alienation is said to the arises from the depersonal natures of the modern works, where peoples are treated as mere cogs in the machines and weakenings of the traditional social bonds, such as the family, community, or religions, leaving individual isolated and disconnected. Next is that is talking about the dominations of instrumentals regions. The rise of the rationality in the modernity has led to a focus on instrumental regions, volume, efficiency, calculations, and technological rationality over morals and ethical considerations. The details Frankfurt's schools, particularly thinkers like the Max Horkheimer and Thomas, argue that modernity focus on the scientific and technological progress has led to the dominations of the instrumental regions. In this view, rationality is reduced to a tool for the controlling nature and maximizing profits and enhancing power, while human value like the justice, freedoms, and happiness are sidelines. This lead to a society that prize technological advancement at the cost of humans and ecological well-being, resulting in the erosions of cultures and the dehumanizations of the individuals. Secularizations and the declines of the meanings, criticism, the process of secularizations, one of the hallmarks of the modernity, has led to the loss of transcendentals or spiritual resources of the meaning. A modernity replaced religious with the secularisms. Critics argue that society has lost a sense of purpose and meanings. Thinkers like Friedrich Nietzsche warned of the conceptions of the death of the god, suggested that without a shared overlappings belief systems, modern individuals would face nihilisms and existential crises where life lacks individuals' meanings and value. Modern secular society often struggle to fill this void, leading to a feelings of the despairal moral relativisms or essential angst. This is the important part of the right. Next important thing that is the exploitations and inequality in capitalist modernity. Criticisms. Modern capitalisms, which arises alongside modernity, is criticisms for the fostering economic inequality, exploitations, and class divisions. Detail. Karl Marx was a key critic of the capitalist modernity, arguing that the capitalist systems explore workers by commodifying their labors and alienating them from the products of their works. Capitalism, in the Marx view, prioritizes profits over the human needs, leading to widening economic disparity, environmental degradations, and social injustice. In modern society, critics point to a growing wealth gaps, reparations, labor conditions, and concentrations of power in the hands of few elites, often corporations or financials entity that is capitalism's inherent flaw. Bureaucratizations and the loss of autonomy. Modernity is reliance on the bureaucratic systems and administrative rationality has resulted in the loss of individuals' freedoms and autonomy. Max Weber is a sociologist and critic of the modernity, warned of the iron age or iron cage of the bureaucracy, where individuals are trapped in a systems of rules, regulations, and precedents that strip them of a personal autonomy. While bureaucracy are efficient and necessary for managing complex society, they often treat peoples impersonally, reducing human relationship to transactions and undermining individuals' creativity and initiative. Bureaucratizations also foster a sense of powerlessness, where individuals feel they are subject to the whim or imposed system beyond their controls. Now come to the environmental degradations, that is, technological and industrial advancements of the modernity have caused widespread environmental destructions, contributing to the climate change, resource degradations, and loss of the biodiversity. Critics argue that modernity has emphasis on the progress, growth, and human dominations over natures has led to environmental exploitations on the unprecedented scales. Modern industrial economics consumes vast amounts of the natural resources and produce significant waste and pollutions resulting in environmental crisis. Ecological critics like deep ecologicals and eco socialist contains that modernity and anthropocentrism, its view on humans as a separate from the superior to nature, is fundamentally flawed and destructive. Humanizations of the cultures and the loss of the traditions. Modernity, particularly through the globalizations and mass media, has led to the humanizations of cultures and eroding traditional way of lives and local identity details. Cultural critics argue that modernity promotes a global standardized cultures that undermine diversity and local traditions. For examples, the spread of Western style consumerism, media and value has often marginalized or changed indigenous, local, or alternative culture. The result a loss of cultural richness where language, practice, and worldwide view are replaced by the homogeneous global cultures, often centers around consumptions and materialisms. Critics also point to the some kind of the commodifications of cultures where cultural practices are replaced and gold in the global markets, stripping them to their ongoing original meanings. Now come to the next important part, that is crisis of identity, anxiety of the modern lives. Modernity has led to the identity crisis and persistent sense of the anxiety and uncertainty in the individuals due to the fragmentations of traditional social roles and value. Details the breakdowns of the traditional structures such as the family, religions, community has left individuals grappling with the questions of identity and purpose. Sociologists like the Bauman discuss how modernity creates liquid or flexible identity where self is constantly pursued by the consumer choices and social expectations. This constant flux lead to anxiety or individual struggle to maintain a stable identity in an ever-changing, uncertain world. Moreover, the purpose of the modern life, such as the need to succeed in competitive economics or navigative bureaucratic structures, contribute to the mental health issue like the depressions, stress, and the burnouts. Totalitarianisms and the abuse of the powers. That means when we're talking about the criticisms, modernity has enabled the rise of the totalitarianism regime and state controls, leading to widespread oppressions and violations of the human rights. Thinkers like the Hama Reuters have criticized the modernity for giving rise to a totalitarian regimes such as fascisms and communisms in the 20th century. This system often justified by modern ideologies of progress or revolutions utilize advanced technological surveillance and bureaucracy to control populations, nationality, and centralizing the powers can lead to the dehumanizations of individuals and erosions of different democratic freedoms. Now come to the 10th important commodifications of the life and the consumerisms. Modernity has led to the commodifications of nearly every aspect of the life, reducing human relationships, experience, and even nature itself to the table blurs. Critics argue that in modern capitalist society, everything is treated as a commodity. Human labors, times, and even emotions are brought and sold in the marketplace. These commodifications strip life of its intrinsic value, reducing the everything to transactions consumerism driven by the advertisings and media, promoting the idea that personal fulfillments can be achieved through the consumptions of goods, leading to a cycles, materialisms, and dissatisfactions. This lead to the pursuits of materials wealth, critics argue, undermines deeper human needs such as connections, purpose, and community. Now come to the technological dependency and loss of the human essence. The rapid advancement of technology in the modernity has led to the human dependency on the uh, machines and the erosions of essential human quality such as creativity, empathy, and social interactions. Critics of modern technology, such as the philosophers Martin Hirsch, argue that modernity based on the technological machinery has fundamentally changed how humans relate to the world. Technology reduced the world to set of resources to be exploited and alters human relationship, making them more transnational and modifications by the machines. With the rise of the artificial intelligence, automations, and digital communications, many critics fear that technology is replacing meaningful human interactions, creativity, and their autonomy. Now come to the conclusion parts of the criticisms of the modernity. While modernity has brought about the significant progress in the science, technology, and human rights, its critics highlights its darker sides, alienations, environmental degradations, exploitations, loss of meanings, and the erosions of traditional value. These critics, coming from the diverse philosophical, ecological, and social perspectives, emphasize that promises of the modernity, such as freedoms, equality, and the progress, are often undermined by its own contradictions and erosions. As society grapples with the consequences of the modernity, these criticisms invite reflections on how to address its shortcomings and innovations in more sustainable and the human features. These are the important things that is talk about the criticism of the modernity. Thank you. Thanks for hearing the video. Thank you.